I didn't expect my Monday morning to start with a marriage proposal. Technically, it wasn't a proposal. It was a favor. A weird, professionally inappropriate, career-threatening favor that came from the lips of the woman I feared, admired, and occasionally imagined pushing me up against a boardroom wall. "I need you to pretend to be my girlfriend," Elizabeth Carlyle said, standing in the doorway of my cubicle like she hadn't just detonated a bomb. I blinked at her. "I'm sorry, what?" She didn't flinch. Elizabeth never flinched. Her expression remained carved from ice, arched brow, blood-red lips, cheekbones that could cut through weak excuses. "There's a wedding this weekend. My sister's. I need someone to come with me. My family's been pressuring me. They think I'm emotionally stunted. Are you?" I asked before I could stop myself. Her mouth twitched. Not quite a smile, but almost. That's beside the point. They think I'm incapable of love. And if I show up alone, I'll never hear the end of it. So, naturally, you decided to recruit your assistant for a fake relationship, I said, still trying to catch up. Why not hire an actress? Too risky. They'd see through it. I need someone who knows me. Someone who won't break character under pressure. Elizabeth, I said slowly, we barely speak outside of email and meeting agendas. But you've been with the firm for 3 years. You're competent, observant, and you make an excellent cover. Wow, I said. So flattering. You'll be compensated. Generously. That's not the problem. Then what is? I stood. She was only inches taller than me in those terrifying heels, but it felt like more. She had a gravitational pull. Dangerous, elegant, impossible to ignore. Why me? I asked. If you enjoyed this content and want to support the channel in a special way, try clicking the thanks button below. It's the one with the heart and $sign icon. With super thanks, you can make a direct contribution to the channel, which helps me keep creating awesome videos for you. Her jaw shifted, just slightly, because when my mother met you at the holiday party last year, she asked why I wasn't dating someone bright-eyed and warm like her. You left an impression. That's rare. I stared at her. So, this isn't just fake dating. This is fake soulmate territory. They're obsessed with the idea of me settling down. I need to shut them up. You'd be doing me a favor. And what do I get? A weekend in Napa. 5-star everything. A bonus equal to 3 months' salary. And, she added, her eyes gleaming, the satisfaction of knowing you made your cold-hearted boss look convincingly in love. I should have said no. I wanted to say no, but there was something in her voice, something tight, like desperation wrapped in arrogance. And I, stupidly, had always been a sucker for emotionally unavailable women with secrets. Fine, I said. But I'm not pretending to be in love with you for a weekend just to be a prop. If I do this, I'm going all in. Her brow arched. Meaning, hand-holding, pet names, inside jokes, intimate glances. We're not just co-workers. We're a couple. You want to sell a story? Then you're going to have to sell us. Elizabeth studied me for a long beat. Then finally she smiled. It was terrifying and thrilling. Very well, she said. But remember, you asked for this. 3 days later, I was in a limo beside her, somewhere between the airport and a vineyard estate so luxurious it looked like it had been carved out of a romance novel. Elizabeth wore sunglasses and silence. She hadn't spoken since takeoff. I wasn't sure if she was nervous or regretting this whole thing. Possibly both. We should establish our backstory, I said, trying to break the tension. How long have we been dating? 6 months. Who made the first move? You did. Really? Yes. I found it endearing. And unprofessional? Deeply. I smiled. What's my nickname for you? You don't get one. Of course I do. No, I'm going to call you Lizzie in front of your mother. You'll be fired. You can't fire your girlfriend. Fake girlfriend, she muttered. Still counts. She exhaled slowly. Fine. Lizzie. But only once. For authenticity. I'm going to abuse this power. I'm aware. When we pulled up to the estate, I nearly lost my nerve. It was massive. Golden light bathed every corner, and already the front lawn was buzzing with people, family, friends, photographers. "You sure about this?" I asked. Elizabeth didn't look at me. Too late now. As we stepped out, a woman gasped, "Elizabeth." A whirlwind of silk and excitement came barreling toward us, a woman in her late 60s with sharp eyes and a voice like honey-coated steel. "And you must be Lily," she said, turning to me. "Elizabeth's told us so much about you." I blinked. "She has." Elizabeth's hand found mine. She squeezed it. "Of course I have." Her mother looked between us. "You two look right together." I knew it. Knew what? I asked. That you were meant to find someone like her. Someone warm. Someone who'd melt that glacier heart of yours. Elizabeth's grip tightened. I looked up at her, surprised to find her already watching me. There was something unreadable in her expression. Almost soft. "She's not as cold as she pretends," I said. "She just needs someone to hold the heat for her." Her mother melted. "Oh, I love her." Elizabeth turned to me the second we were alone again. "What the hell was that?" "Improvisation. You're dangerous." "You like it?" She didn't answer, but she didn't let go of my hand either. That night, in the guest house we were sharing, she stood by the window while I changed behind a folding screen. "They believe it," she said quietly. "Of course they do. You're good at this." "That's because I'm not pretending as hard as you think." Silence. "Then, you're not, are you?" She turned slowly. Her eyes were darker than usual, something between fear and desire. "Good night, Lily," she said, voice low. "Try not to dream about me." I climbed into the bed beside her, heart pounding. Too late. And in the dark, I felt her fingers brush mine under the covers. Barely there, but real. Maybe too real. And it was only Friday. The next morning, I woke up to find Elizabeth already dressed and standing at the edge of the bed, phone in hand, hair immaculate, not a single emotion on her face. She didn't say good morning. She didn't look at me. She just ended a call, slipped her phone into her purse, and said, "Brunch is in 30 minutes. Wear something soft. They'll want to fawn over us." "Something soft," I muttered, pushing the blanket off and blinking blearily. "Is that a fashion order or an emotional warning?" "Both," she said, already walking out the door. 30 minutes later, we were seated on a sun-drenched patio surrounded by roses, a string quartet, and enough white linen to make me feel like I was on the set of a royal wedding. Elizabeth's mother was already deep in wedding prep chatter, but her eyes kept flicking to us, specifically to our hands, which were not touching. I noticed. So I reached for Elizabeth's under the table, threading my fingers through hers. Her hand was warm, steady. She didn't look at me, but I felt the subtle shift in her posture. Tension, held breath, a crack in the glacier. "So," her mother said, placing her mimosa down, "how did you two meet again?" "I want to hear it from Lily." I smiled. "Coffee machine. Broken." She was furious. I offered her mine. "You just gave her your coffee?" "No," Elizabeth said, voice dry. "She told me I looked like I needed caffeine and a hug." Her mother gasped, delighted. "And what did you say?" "I told her if she hugged me, I'd sue." "Romantic," I added. "It was," Elizabeth said, and glanced at me. Our eyes locked for a second too long. It really was. The rest of brunch was a blur of small talk and strategic affection. I let my head rest against her shoulder once when her aunt started talking about destination honeymoons. She didn't move away. When her cousin asked how we knew it was real, I told a story about Elizabeth getting sick with the flu and me showing up with soup and a stack of old books to read aloud until she fell asleep. That never happened. But when I looked at her, her jaw had gone tight, her throat working like she was swallowing something sharp. "You okay?" I whispered as the conversation drifted to something else. She nodded, but her fingers were trembling slightly beneath the table. We escaped after 2 hours. She led me down a shaded garden path, out of sight, into a private courtyard that smelled like lavender and stone. She didn't say anything until we were alone. Why did you say all that? Because I thought it would help sell it. You made me sound soft. You're soft, I said gently. You just don't let anyone see it. You're getting too good at this. That bothers you? It terrifies me. She turned, facing me, something raw in her expression. This was supposed to be clean, strategic, a favor. And now I can't tell when you're pretending. I'm not. The silence between us thickened. Her eyes dropped to my mouth. Don't do that. Do what? Look at me like that. Like I want to kiss you? Yes. Then stop standing so close. She didn't move. Neither did I. My heart pounded. Her breath hitched. And then her hand came up, slowly, brushing my cheek. This is a terrible idea. So, was inviting me here, but you did it anyway. If I kiss you, I'm not going to be able to stop. Then don't. Her mouth crashed into mine before I could say another word. It wasn't soft. It wasn't hesitant. It was 5 years of control unraveling in a single, reckless moment. She kissed like someone who didn't know how to ask, who only knew how to take. And I let her. I gave her everything. Her hands slid into my hair, down my back, pulling me closer, tighter, until I could feel every sharp line of her body against mine. I kissed her back with everything I had, pouring every ounce of longing and frustration and maybe love into it. When she finally pulled away, her lips were swollen, her eyes dark. We should go back, she said hoarsely, before someone notices we're gone. Too late, came a voice. We spun. Her sister was standing at the edge of the garden, arms crossed, mouth twisted into a smirk. I came to tell you the photographer wants a picture of you two by the fountain, but clearly you're busy. We were. Elizabeth started, but her sister waved a hand. Relax. Everyone already thinks you're disgustingly in love. You might as well lean into it. She turned and walked away, heels clicking. I looked at Elizabeth. This weekend just got a lot more complicated. She laughed once, low and bitter. You have no idea. We took the photo, smiling, her hand around my waist, mine resting on her chest. I could feel her heart hammering beneath my fingers. Later that night, back in the guest house, she poured 2 glasses of wine and sat beside me on the couch. We need rules, she said. Now. Yes. Before this gets messy, eh? Too late. Rule 1. We don't do that again. You mean kiss? Yes. So, you're planning to live in denial for the rest of the weekend. I'm planning to keep my job. You're the boss, Elizabeth. Exactly. Which means I should be smart enough to know this is a bad idea. You kiss me. You kiss me back. You taste like strawberry lip balm and terrible decisions. Don't make me want you again. Too late. She stared at me, then downed her wine, then stood. I'm going to bed. Sure. You're sleeping on your side. Absolutely. She walked toward the bedroom, stopped in the doorway, looked back. Don't be surprised if I'm not cold forever. And then she was gone, and I was left sitting on the couch, trying not to fall in love with someone who was already halfway there. Elizabeth was already dressed and pretending to check emails by the time I rolled out of bed the next morning. Her posture was painfully straight, her expression blank, but her eyes flicked toward me the second I moved, tracking me like I might explode into affection or accusations or worse, admission. Morning, I said, rubbing my eyes. Didn't realize CEOs woke up with the sun. I didn't sleep. You never do, I muttered. She said nothing. The air between us was sharp with things unsaid. I grabbed my robe, tied it slowly, then turned to her. Are we going to talk about it? Talk about what? The kissing, the hand-holding, the fact that your mother called me the best thing that's ever happened to you in front of 30 people and you didn't correct her. She stood. There's nothing to talk about. There's everything to talk about. You knew what this was. Did I? I stepped closer. Because from where I'm standing, this feels a hell of a lot less fake than it's supposed to. She looked at me then, really looked like she was trying to memorize my face before something broke. I told you this would get messy. And I told you I don't care." Her mouth parted. She said nothing, just stared, jaw clenched, breathing shallow. A knock saved us both. Elizabeth opened the door with her usual polished composure. Her mother stood there, smiling brightly. "Darling, good, you're both awake. We're having a pre-ceremony lunch by the lake. Family only. But Lily's family now, so naturally she's invited." Elizabeth didn't glance back at me. "Of course. We'll be there." We walked the garden path in silence, our hands brushing but not touching. I hated the space between us. At the lake, long tables were set under twinkling lights. Elizabeth's father raised a glass the second we arrived. "To Elizabeth," he said, "and to Lily. You've softened her. We thought it was impossible." Elizabeth's expression didn't change, but her grip on my hand tightened beneath the table. "She's still sharp," I said, smiling at her. "But I like my women with a little edge." Her father chuckled. "She's lucky to have you." Later, as people spread out across the lawn, I found Elizabeth standing beneath a tree alone, staring at the lake like it had offended her. I walked up behind her. "So, they love me." "You're very good at pretending. You say that like it's not real." "It's not." "Then why does your pulse jump when I touch you?" Her eyes snapped to mine. "It doesn't." "Liar." I stepped into her space. She didn't move. "You kissed me, Elizabeth. You kissed me back. You wanted it. It was strategy." "Then let's strategize again." "Lily, admit it." "No, say it." "I can't." "Why?" "Because if I say it, I can't unsay it. And I don't know how to come back from wanting you." My breath caught. She looked away, jaw tight. This was supposed to be clean. "Then why does it feel like we're already a couple?" "Because you make it easy to forget I'm pretending." I didn't think. I kissed her, right there under the tree, in daylight, with the risk of being seen by half her extended family. She made a sound, low, broken, and pulled me closer, like she'd been waiting all her life for someone to stop asking permission. Her hands tangled in my hair. Mine gripped the back of her neck. When we broke apart, we were both breathing hard. "You're impossible," she said. "And you're melting." "Shut up. Make me." She almost did. But someone called her name, and we jolted apart. Her expression shuddered again. We returned to the table like nothing had happened. Except everything had. That night, after dinner, there was a bonfire. Her family gathered around it, drinking wine, toasting love, telling stories. I sat beside Elizabeth, her thigh brushing mine. Her cousin asked how we met. Her sister asked when we knew it was love. I answered first. I think it was the way she brings me coffee without asking. The way she pretends to hate how I laugh, but secretly listens for it. Elizabeth didn't look at me. She just said, it was the first time she said my name like it was something soft. The group went quiet for a second. Then her mother wiped her eye. "You're in love," she whispered. "You're really in love." Elizabeth didn't correct her. That night, in the guest house, I waited for her to speak. She didn't. Just changed into silk pajamas and stood by the window like she was trying to remember how to breathe. "They think we're soulmates," I said. "Do you?" "I don't know what I think. That's a lie. You're making this real. Maybe it already is." She turned to me, eyes shining. "If I let myself feel this, if I let myself have you, what happens when it ends?" "Why would it end?" "Because I ruin everything." I crossed the room and cupped her face in my hands. "Then let me be the first thing you don't." And when she kissed me again, it wasn't for the cameras. It wasn't for her family. It wasn't part of the deal. It was her, choosing me, finally. And I kissed her back like I'd been waiting all my life for a woman like her to stop pretending she didn't want to be loved. Elizabeth kissed me like she was trying to unlearn everything she'd ever been taught about restraint. No more practiced precision. No more cold calculations. Just heat, breath, need. Her hands gripped my waist like she was afraid I might disappear, and when I pressed closer, she groaned, quiet, low, like it hurt to want this much. We stumbled together, bodies tangling, hearts in free fall, until we reached the bed. She hovered over me, trembling slightly, her lips red, her pupils blown wide. "Tell me this is okay," she said, voice rough. "Tell me you want this." "I want you," I whispered. "I've wanted you." Something shattered behind her eyes. She kissed me again, deeper this time, her mouth claiming mine like she was starving. Our hands moved quickly, almost clumsy with urgency, pulling away fabric, dragging skin to skin. Her body was warm, lean, and when she pressed against me fully, it was like every part of me answered, finally. She didn't rush. For all her desperation, she was careful. She mapped me with her hands, her mouth, her breath, kissing the space just below my jaw, the curve of my shoulder, the line between my ribs. I arched under her, gasping, fingers digging into her back, and when she looked up at me, I saw her for what she really was. Not the ice queen, not the perfect boss, but a woman terrified of losing something real before she even had the courage to admit she wanted it. "You feel like mine," she whispered. "Say you're mine." "I am," I breathed. "But only if you're mine too." She kissed me again. Slower. This time not to claim, but to surrender. After, we lay tangled in silence, skin sticky with sweat, hearts finally slowing. Elizabeth's arm was draped across my waist, her face buried in my neck. I ran my fingers gently through her hair, waiting for her to say something. She didn't. "You still think this ends on Sunday?" I asked quietly. She didn't move, but I felt her exhale, shaky. "I don't know what happens after." "I do," I said. "We go back. You give me an absurd raise. You stop pretending you hate me in meetings. You let me take you to dinner where you're not pretending to be someone else." She pulled back slightly, just enough to look at me. "And what if I don't know how to be anything other than who I've been? Then I'll teach you how to be loved." Her throat worked. "I'm not easy. You're worth it. You'll get tired of me. I'll get addicted to you. You're dangerous," she whispered. "And you're mine," I whispered back. We didn't sleep for a while. Just lay there, bodies pressed together, fingers tracing each other like memorizing lines in a sacred text. When we finally drifted off, it was in each other's arms. I woke first the next morning. Sunlight filtered through gauzy curtains, casting golden light over her bare shoulder. She looked younger asleep, softer, and somehow even more untouchable. I didn't want to move, didn't want to break the moment, but the sound of someone knocking broke it for me. I scrambled to the door, throwing on a robe, hair a mess. Her mother stood there, holding a tray. "Good morning," she said, too brightly. "Brought you both some breakfast. We figured you'd be tired." My face flushed. "That's very thoughtful. Elizabeth still asleep?" "Yes. She looks so peaceful lately. I've never seen her like this. I'm starting to think you might be magic." I smiled, swallowing the guilt. Because it was still a lie, wasn't it? At least it had started as one. But now? I wasn't sure. Not about anything except the way my heart pounded when she looked at me. "I'm going to marry her," her mother said suddenly. "I mean, you're going to marry her. Someday." "I can see it." I froze. She laughed. I know. Too soon. But, trust me, Elizabeth doesn't let people in. Not ever. She's been like that since her father left. Cold. Controlled. But with you, she shook her head. You melted something. I blinked. She never told me about her father. Of course not. She never tells anyone. But she doesn't look at anyone the way she looks at you. She handed me the tray, winked, and left. I closed the door, heart hammering. Elizabeth was awake now, sitting up in bed, eyes fixed on me. "You heard?" I asked. She nodded. "Is it true?" "Which part?" "That I melted something." She looked down at her hands. "You're the first person I've ever let this close. I don't know how to do it right." "Then don't do it right. Just do it real." She looked at me then, and I saw it. Raw, unfiltered affection burning behind her usual wall of control. "Stay with me," she whispered. "After this. After the wedding. After the pretending." "Yes," I said. "But You have to let me in completely. Even the ugly parts? Especially the ugly parts. She reached for my hand. Then yes, I'm yours. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Rehearsal dinner. Photos. Her hand never left mine. Her lips brushed my ear when no one was looking. She touched me like she couldn't stop. That night, in front of her whole family, she gave a toast. Some of you thought I'd never fall in love, she said. And you weren't wrong. I didn't fall. I fought it. For months. I resisted. I pushed her away. I made her job hell. And she kept showing up. With warmth. And laughter. And grace. She looked at me. Lily taught me that love isn't about needing someone. It's about choosing them. Every day. Even when it's hard. Even when you're afraid. Her voice cracked. And I choose her. Everyone clapped. I cried. And that night, when she kissed me under the stars, I kissed her back like the story wasn't fake anymore. Because it wasn't. Not even a little bit. The wedding day arrived with a kind of fragile stillness that always comes before a storm. The sun rose over the vineyard, painting the estate in soft gold, and for a moment it almost felt like the world had stopped spinning. Elizabeth was quiet as she dressed, too quiet. Her movements were precise, but her eyes were distant, and every time our fingers touched, she flinched like she didn't trust herself. I watched her from the edge of the bed, still wrapped in one of her oversized shirts, my coffee forgotten in my hands. "You're doing it again," I said gently. "Doing what?" "Building walls where there used to be doors." She glanced at me. "I'm not used to people staying once the lights come on. I'm still here. For now." That made me stand, cross the room, reach for her hand. "You think I'm going to walk away because this started as a lie? Didn't it?" "No," I said softly. "It started as a favor. It became a lie. But somewhere along the way, it turned into the most honest thing I've ever felt." She stared at me like she was drowning. I cupped her face, my thumbs brushing the curve of her jaw. "You told your family you'd choose me. So do it. Every day. Even when it scares you." She leaned into my touch. "I don't know how to let people love me." "Then I'll love you until you figure it out." Her breath hitched. She kissed me once, quick and fierce, like she needed the taste of me to ground herself. Then she stepped back, smoothed her hair, and said, "You look like hell." "Good," I smiled. "Then they'll believe we had a lot of sex." Her laugh broke something in the air, sharp and rare and real. "Put on something that says, 'I might actually be in love with my boss.'" "You mean like a black dress and a dangerously soft gaze?" "Exactly that." When we arrived at the ceremony site, everything was a blur of white and green and expensive floral arrangements. Guests were taking their seats. A quartet played something delicate. Elizabeth's mother rushed over, adjusting her daughter's collar like she hadn't just given a toast the night before about how Lily had brought warmth to the heart of a woman made entirely of ice. "You two will sit together in the front row," she said, beaming. "We want everyone to see you, especially during the vows. You're next, after all." I blinked. "I'm sorry." "She means eventually." Elizabeth cut in smoothly. Her mother winked. "Of course." The ceremony began. And for the first 20 minutes, I thought we'd survive it. Until the officiant said something about soulmates, and I felt Elizabeth's fingers tighten around mine. Her pulse jumped. Her breathing changed. I looked at her. Her face was perfectly composed, but I could feel the panic beneath it. After the ceremony, we were swept into photos, toasts, champagne flutes, more compliments from people who were so relieved Elizabeth finally found someone who made her feel. It should have felt like victory, but something was unraveling. That night, under a sky full of fairy lights, Elizabeth pulled me away from the crowd, into a dark hallway just beyond the wine cellar. She looked like she was about to explode. "I can't do this," she whispered. "What?" "I can't keep pretending. Not when it's starting to feel like a lie again. Not when I know it started as one." I stepped closer. "Then stop pretending. Just be with me." "And what if they find out? What if they realize it wasn't real at the start? Then we tell them the truth. that it became real. That somewhere between the fake photos and the forced hand-holding, we fell in love. You really think they'll believe that? I don't care if they do, I said. I only care if you do. She swallowed hard. I do. I touched her chest. Then say it. Lily, say it. Her breath hitched. I'm in love with you. The words hit me like heat. I leaned in, kissed her, soft and slow, and full of the kind of reverence that doesn't come from pretending. She kissed me back like she was finally free. When we broke apart, her forehead rested against mine. I want to tell them, she whispered. Then let's do it together. We stood in front of her parents, her sister, her closest family. Hands intertwined, faces flushed. There's something we need to say, Elizabeth began. This started as a lie. Ask Lily to come here as a favor, to pretend. Her mother's face fell. Her father went still. But something happened, Elizabeth continued. Somewhere between the lie and the weekend, I stopped pretending. And I realized the only thing that scared me more than being alone was losing her. I squeezed her hand. It wasn't fake for long, I added. And it's not fake now. Silence stretched. And then her sister stepped forward and said, God, it took you long enough. Elizabeth blinked. You knew. You're incapable of casual affection. The fact that you were making hard eyes and blushing? Dead giveaway. Her mother shook her head, tears in her eyes. We don't care how it started. We just care that it's real now. Elizabeth looked at me. I looked at her. And I knew. This was real. All of it. The fake beginning. The messy middle. And the love we'd both fought so hard to ignore. Later that night, in our bed, she curled into me like we'd been doing it for years. Are you sure, she asked, about us? More than I've been sure about anything. Even if it's complicated? Especially then. She smiled against my skin. I think I'm going to propose to you someday. You better, I said. After all, your family's already planning the wedding. And when she kissed me again, I kissed her back with the full weight of a heart that had once been hers only for pretend, but now belonged to her entirely. Returning to the city felt like waking up from a dream I hadn't realized I'd been having. The soft golden haze of the vineyard, the fantasy of the fake not fake romance, the glow of fairy lights and whispered confessions, it all clung to my skin like heat even after we landed. But the airport's fluorescent lighting, the cab ride back to our respective apartments, and the silence that settled between us were sharp reminders that the story had changed. It was no longer a performance. There were no parents watching, no fake backstory to hide behind. It was just us. And that was infinitely more terrifying. Elizabeth held my hand all the way home. In the car, on the elevator, even in front of her doorman. She didn't let go until we were inside her penthouse, and she kicked off her heels with a sigh that sounded like surrender. It's quiet, I said, setting my bag down gently. I forgot how quiet your place is. You mean cold? She asked, not turning around. Sterile. No, I said, walking up behind her. I mean, unshared. Her shoulders stiffened. It's always been mine. Just mine. Do you want it to stay that way? She turned to face me. I don't know how to share it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. I reached out, slipping my arms around her waist. You don't have to do anything. You just have to let me be here. You're already everywhere. I smiled. Good. Then I'm winning. She laughed, the sound breaking softly against my chest. That night we didn't make love like we had at the vineyard, tangled in adrenaline and fantasy. We undressed each other slowly, deliberately, like we were unpacking a truth. I touched her like I had time. She kissed me like she didn't know what she'd done to deserve this kind of softness. And when we fell asleep, it was her fingers curled around mine, not her control. The next morning, we woke tangled, messy-haired, bare-skinned, and very much together. I have to go in early, she said, brushing her lips over my collarbone. Big client call. I should stop by the office. My inbox is probably rioting. Don't be surprised if the entire building thinks we've eloped. Let them think it. Are we going to tell them? I sat up, pulling her closer. I don't want to hide. Do you? She was quiet, then shook her head.
No.
I'm tired of pretending. At the office, things were different. The moment we stepped onto the executive floor, heads turned. People stared. Whispers bloomed like wildfire. Elizabeth walked like nothing had changed. Hair perfect, posture regal, voice cool and composed. But when I brought her a coffee and slipped her a tiny note that said you forgot to kiss me goodbye, she smiled. She smiled. During our lunch break, we took separate elevators. She met me in the stairwell, closed the door behind her, and kissed me like she'd been holding her breath for hours. You're going to ruin me, she whispered. That's the goal. We had dinner that night at my place. She sat on my tiny couch in her tailored pantsuit, barefoot, wine glass in hand. I've never been in a place this lived in, she said. There's clutter. That's what love looks like, I teased. Socks on the floor. Dishes in the sink. Terrifying. You'll survive. She leaned her head on my shoulder. You make me want to try. That weekend, she invited me to stay over again. One night became 2, then 4, then all of them. Slowly, she cleared space for me. A drawer. A toothbrush. Her fridge started to include my favorite yogurt. Her bookshelf acquired romance novels. Her kitchen learned how to make pancakes. And her bed? Her bed forgot what it felt like to be slept in alone. But it wasn't all easy. One evening, I got a text during dinner and smiled. Elizabeth glanced up. Who is it? Just Jenna, I said. She wants to grab lunch next week. You didn't mention her. She's just a friend. You dated her once. I set down my fork. How do you know that? You mentioned it. Months ago. Elizabeth, you kissed her once in college. One kiss. You remember that. I remember everything about you. Her voice cracked. Eyes softened. Are you jealous? I don't know how to be this close to someone. I don't know how to trust that you'll stay. Then let me show you. Every day. I'm not going anywhere. Her eyes filled. She reached for my hand. Promise. Always. That night, we stayed in bed until morning. We ordered takeout and danced barefoot in her kitchen. We made a mess of the living room and didn't clean it up. We curled into each other and talked about nothing and everything. She told me about her father, about the first time he left, about how she waited on the stairs until midnight for a man who never came back. She said she stopped letting people in after that. I held her tighter, and I whispered, Then let me come in now.
I'll stay.
I swear. Weeks passed, then months. She never stopped being a little guarded. I never stopped breaking through. And one night, curled up on her couch with a blanket over our laps and wine in our hands, she looked at me and said, I'm going to buy a second toothbrush for your place. I blinked. You don't even like my place.
No, she said.
But I like you in it. I leaned in. Is that your way of saying you love me again? I never stopped. Then say it. You say it first. Fine. I whispered, brushing her lips. I love you, Elizabeth Carlyle. And I, she said, love you, Lily Matthews. Even if you leave socks everywhere. They're a metaphor. For what? For me being part of your life now, whether you like it or not. She kissed me again.
And again.
And again. And I let her. Because what we had wasn't fake anymore. It wasn't a game. It wasn't a plan. It was real. Chaotic. Messy. Terrifying. But real. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. It had been exactly 1 year since the wedding where we'd pretended to fall in love and accidentally done it for real. 1 year since I'd held Elizabeth Carlyle's hand in front of her family and lied through my teeth, only to find the truth blooming behind my ribs days later. A lot had changed. We now lived in the same apartment. Not hers, not mine, but ours. A place with plants that somehow didn't die, a coffee machine we both fought over in the mornings, and a bed that rarely knew cold sheets. She still refused to let me use her toothbrush. I still left socks everywhere. The romance didn't fade, it evolved. Became quieter.
Deeper.
She still brought me coffee in meetings. I still left notes in her briefcase. She still made me dinner when she got home early, and I still kissed her shoulder every night before bed like a prayer. But some things never changed. Like how I still couldn't stop looking at her. Like how she still made me nervous in the best possible way. That morning, I woke up to the smell of her perfume lingering on the pillow beside me. I stretched, half asleep, reaching out. But the space was empty. Her side of the bed was warm. Recently abandoned. The city outside was gray and quiet, rain brushing the windows in soft rhythms. I threw on one of her sweaters, way too big, sleeves covering my hands, and padded into the kitchen. She was there, standing barefoot, pouring coffee, hair still wet from the shower, wearing a button-down I recognized as mine. "Morning," I said, watching her with open affection. She turned, smiled. That rare, soft smile she only gave me before 8 a.m. "Hi. You're up early. Couldn't sleep. Anything wrong?" She crossed the room, handed me a mug, then leaned against the counter.
No.
"Just thinking. Dangerous. Potentially." I took a sip. "You're wearing my shirt. You left it on the floor. You like when I leave things everywhere." "I tolerate it. For your charm." I stepped closer, rested my free hand on her waist. "You love me." "Unfortunately." "Say it again." "You say it first." "God, you're exhausting," I muttered and kissed her. She melted into it.
"Still."
"Always." When we pulled apart, I whispered, "I love you." "Good," she whispered back, "because I'm about to do something reckless." I blinked. "Are we breaking another HR policy?" "Worse." She stepped back, reached into the cabinet above her head, and pulled out a tiny black box. My breath caught. "Elizabeth, before you say anything, I want to be clear. I didn't plan some grand thing. No flash mob. No violin quartet. No hot air balloon. Tragic. Just this.
You. Me.
Our kitchen.
Rain.
Coffee. And this question." She opened the box. A ring. Simple. Elegant. Gold, with a small sapphire in the center. "Will you marry me?" The world stilled. My coffee mug trembled in my hand. "You're serious?" Terrifyingly. "You want to marry the woman who left a red pen in the dryer last week?" Desperately. "You're sure?" "Every time I wake up and you're beside me, I'm sure." My throat closed. My heart cracked open. I set the mug down and took the box from her hands. "Ask me again." "Lily Matthews, will you?" "Yes." I didn't let her finish. I kissed her instead.
Hard. Fierce.
Laughing against her mouth. She pulled me close, hands buried in my sweater. The ring box somewhere between us now. When we finally broke apart, breathless and flushed, I said, "You really want me forever?" "I already have you. Even if I burn toast and forget to water plants and cry during movies about dogs." "Especially then." "Then yes. God, yes." She slid the ring onto my finger. Her hands trembled. Mine did too. We stood in our kitchen, in mismatched clothes, barefoot and a little messy, and I never felt more certain of anything. That night, we curled up on the couch, her head in my lap, the sound of rain still pattering against the windows. I played with her hair, and she traced circles on my thigh. "We should tell your mother," I said. "She's probably already monogramming napkins." "She's going to cry." "So will I." "I already did," Elizabeth whispered. I looked down. When you said yes. "You softy. Don't tell anyone. I have a reputation." "You had a reputation. Now you have a fiancé." She smiled. "I like the sound of that." "Say it again." "Fiancé."
No.
"Say I love you." "I love you." Again. "I love you." I leaned down, kissed her forehead. "Forever." "Forever," she whispered. And when I kissed her again, her hands on my face, mine on her heart, I knew. It had started as a lie. But this was the truest thing I'd ever known. The thing about getting engaged to the most terrifying, brilliant woman in your industry is that nothing stays private for long. We announced it the morning after, quietly over coffee on a Monday. No public posts. No champagne-drenched selfies. Just two women in a kitchen, wearing each other's clothes, sharing a secret that had already grown too big to stay inside our apartment. Do you want to tell them? I asked, sipping my coffee, watching her pull her hair into that tight low bun she always wore when she needed to feel in control. Or do I? We tell them together, she said without hesitation. At the staff meeting. You want to announce our engagement at the staff meeting? Would you prefer a company-wide email with bullet points and legal disclaimers? God, no. Then staff meeting it is. But when the moment came, 10 minutes into her Monday morning address to 25 high-level employees in our glass-walled conference room, it didn't go exactly as planned. She was halfway through her usual meticulous breakdown of quarterly projections when she paused, looked down at the table, then looked at me. Before we continue, she said slowly, clearly, like she was navigating a minefield, there's one more update I'd like to share. Lily and I are engaged. The room froze. Every eye turned to me. My stomach dropped. The silence stretched. Elizabeth blinked. Any questions? And then applause. Laughter. Someone let out a finally. A few people exchanged money, like they'd lost bets. And just like that, the air shifted. Our secret didn't feel like something fragile anymore. It felt like something real. After the meeting, her assistant cornered me in the hallway. Congratulations, he said, handing me a file. Also, we have a pool going on the wedding date. I put my money on spring. I blinked. Is this what being part of her life is like now? Oh, absolutely, he smirked. Welcome to the inner sanctum. She's still terrifying, by the way. But I've never seen her look this happy. You did that. I held the file against my chest, suddenly breathless. Back in her office, Elizabeth was standing by the window, phone in hand. I shut the door behind me. You didn't have to do that so publicly, I said. I wanted to. I wanted them to know you're mine. You said it like you were announcing a merger. Would you have preferred interpretive dance? Tempting. She put down the phone, crossed the room. Are you happy? I'm terrified. Why? Because I love you so much it makes everything else feel small. Her face softened. Come here. I stepped into her arms. She held me tightly, one hand at the back of my neck, the other pressed flat against my spine. Then let's make the world fit around us, she whispered. That night, we had dinner at her parents' place. Her mother cried. Her sister brought champagne. Her father gave Elizabeth a speech about commitment and partnership that made her go quiet for the rest of the meal. When I found her on the balcony later, she was staring at the skyline, silent. You okay? I asked. He said something, she murmured. He said it's not just about love. It's about staying when things are hard, when they're boring, when they're not perfect. Do you think I won't? I think I'm still learning how not to push people away the second I feel like I might need them. I touched her cheek. Then keep learning with me. You don't have to know everything. You just have to choose me. Every day. Every second. She kissed me. And when we got home, she made love to me like it was a promise. Slow, reverent. Nothing like that first kiss in a wine cellar. This was the kind of intimacy that came from trust. From knowing each other's fears. From having built something through the fire. Her hands were softer now. Her touch more patient. She whispered my name like it was an answer. We fell asleep tangled in each other, breath slow, heart steady. But not everything stayed perfect. A week later, someone leaked the engagement to the press. Headlines bloomed across business blogs and gossip sites. CEO Elizabeth Carlisle engaged to former assistant. Workplace scandal or soulmate success? It spiraled quickly. Opinions, speculation, questions about ethics, power dynamics. Even though we were both consenting, even though everything had evolved naturally, I felt the eyes on us like fire. We should have waited, I said, slamming my laptop shut. We should have kept it private. Elizabeth looked up from across the room, where she'd been reading on the couch.
No.
We shouldn't hide. They think I used you to get ahead. Let them think it. We know the truth. Do you? I asked, my voice cracking. Do you know that I love you for you, Not the job or the title or the way you look when you make me coffee in your robe. She stood, walked to me.
I know.
Because I've seen the way you love me when I'm nothing but skin and nerves. When I forget what I'm supposed to say. When I cry in the dark because I don't know how to be good at this. You're better than good, I whispered. You're everything. Then let them talk, she said. Let them try to fit us into boxes. We'll keep breaking them. I kissed her. Fiercely. And that night, we ordered takeout, turned off our phones, and danced in the living room in our underwear to the worst 90s playlist we could find. She wore my sweatshirt. I wore her socks. And the next morning, she sent out a company-wide memo that simply read, "To clarify, Lily said yes because she loves me, not because I give good bonuses. Though I do." You see, I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my coffee. We were far from perfect, but we were real. And nothing, not gossip, not fear, not even our own past mistakes, was going to take that away from us. The fight started over something small. It always does. I forgot to RSVP to a charity event Elizabeth had marked in our shared calendar. She reminded me twice. I still didn't do it. I was busy, distracted, tired. Life had been loud lately, and I was tired of being looked at like I didn't belong beside her. When she brought it up, her voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that lives just above a storm. I reminded you, she said, standing in the kitchen with her arms crossed, glass of wine untouched on the counter. I know, I muttered. I'm sorry. That's the third thing this month, Lily. First the gala dress fitting, then the team dinner with my partners, and now this. I said I was sorry. You said it, but nothing changes. That stung. What's that supposed to mean? It means I need you to show up. This isn't just us anymore. This is our life. People watch. People talk. I slammed the drawer, harder than I meant to. You mean your reputation. Your image.
No, she snapped.
I mean us. I'm trying to build something real, and you're making me feel like I'm the only one carrying the weight. You don't get to say that, I said, turning to face her fully. You, who couldn't even say I love you until we were 3 months in. You, who treats vulnerability like it's a ticking bomb. I've been patient. I've learned your rhythms. I've taken every cold morning and turned it warm again, and now because I forgot a damn RSVP, I'm not committed enough. Her face hardened. This isn't about an RSVP. Then tell me what it's really about. It's about me being afraid that you'll wake up one day and decide I'm too much, too complicated, too difficult to love. My anger collapsed. Elizabeth, her voice dropped. It's about me building this whole life around you and wondering if you're building yours around me. I am. Then act like it. We stood there in the kitchen, breathing hard. The silence after was brutal. I crossed the room slowly, my hands shaking. You still think I'll leave you? She didn't answer. I reached for her hand. I'm not going anywhere. You say that, she whispered. But people always leave. They get tired. They find someone easier. I don't want easier. I want you. Even when you're impossible. Even when you're cold. Even when you expect perfection and forget that you're human too. Her eyes filled. I'm not easy to love. You're mine to love. I pulled her into my arms. She fought it for a second, then melted.
Collapsed.
Her face against my neck, her fingers tangled in the back of my shirt. I'm sorry, she said, voice breaking. I'm just scared all the time. I don't know how to trust something this good. Then don't trust the world. I whispered. Trust me. She kissed me before I could say anything else. Fierce, desperate, all teeth and apology. We stumbled backward, mouths clashing, bodies pressed tight. She pushed me against the fridge, her hands under my shirt, and I let her take control because this was how she knew how to ask for forgiveness. Her mouth found my jaw, my collarbone, and I gasped. Bedroom. I managed.
Now.
She didn't wait. We stripped each other bare between the hallway and the mattress, our clothes a trail of tension and surrender. She laid me down like I was something holy. And when she moved inside me, slow and deep and reverent, I saw her, every version. The girl who'd been left. The woman who built walls. The fiancé who didn't know how to believe she was worthy of being chosen. I love you, I whispered. Even when we fight. Especially when we fight, she breathed. Because you still stay. Always. We came undone together, not just in body but in the fierce, aching way that only happens when two people crash into each other's truth and decide to stay. After, we lay tangled in the sheets, sweaty and breathless, her face pressed to my shoulder. I'm scared of the life I want with you, she whispered. Me too, I admitted. But I want it anyway. Will we be okay? We already are. She kissed the ring on my finger. I kissed the scar behind her ear. And when we fell asleep, it was with our legs tangled and our hearts open, bruised maybe, but still beating in perfect time. Together. It was raining on our wedding day. Not a storm. Just that soft kind of rain that blurs everything into something more beautiful. The kind that slows the world down and makes everything feel like a movie. And honestly, it suited us. We never did anything the easy way. Elizabeth stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the cuffs of her suit jacket for the third time, her expression unreadable. You look like you're about to argue with God, I said from the doorway. She turned, and the breath left my body. Dark navy suit, hair swept up in a soft twist. No jewelry except for the engagement ring I gave her 6 months ago and the gold band she'd wear after today. She looked devastating. You're not supposed to see me before the ceremony, she said, voice low. Sue me. Don't tempt me. I couldn't sleep. Neither could I. I crossed the room, stopped just short of touching her. Are you nervous? Terrified.
Good.
That means it matters. Do I look okay? She asked, and the rawness in her voice almost undid me. You look like every promise I've ever wanted kept. She exhaled shakily. Lily, yeah? Marry me now, before I combust. Working on it. The ceremony was small, intentionally. A garden tent under the rain, 50 people max. Her mother cried the moment she saw Elizabeth walk down the aisle. My sister squeezed my hand so hard I lost feeling. But I only saw her, Elizabeth, standing at the end of the aisle, eyes locked on mine like she couldn't believe I was real. She looked terrified and in love and furious with herself for feeling all of it at once. I walked toward her slowly, deliberately. The world blurred. The rain tapped gently on the canopy. And when I reached her, when I took her hands, her fingers trembled. We wrote our own vows. She insisted. I don't want anything generic, she'd said. I want the truth, even if it's messy. So I went first. You once told me you don't know how to be soft, I began. That you don't trust easily. That you build walls you can't even see until someone pushes against them. And you told me that loving you would be hard. You were right. But you didn't tell me how worth it would be. You didn't tell me how it would feel to wake up every day next to someone who sees me. All of me. You didn't tell me that home would stop being a place and start being a person.
You.
Elizabeth, you're the best fight I've ever picked. I choose you. Over and over. Even on the hard days. Especially then. She was crying by the end. I hadn't seen her cry in front of other people since the night she proposed. Then it was her turn. I didn't believe in soulmates, she said, voice soft and breaking. I believed in work, in effort, in earning everything. I didn't believe anyone would stay once they saw the cracks. I didn't believe I could be loved without pretending to be someone else. And then you happened. You ruined everything. You made me feel. You made me hope. You made me want. And I still don't know if I deserve you. But I promise to spend the rest of my life proving that I'll never stop trying. I'm yours. Utterly.
Completely.
And I never want to be anything else. We didn't wait for the officiant to say it. We kissed. Right there, in the middle of our own vows, in front of everyone we loved. The crowd laughed, clapped, cried. And when the officiant finally said, "You may now kiss your wife," we did it again. Longer this time.
Slower.
Like it meant something more. Because it did. The reception was a blur of warmth. Champagne. Dancing. Elizabeth pulled me in for the slow songs, her hand on the small of my back, lips brushing my ear with promises for later. Do you know what I'm thinking about? She asked as the lights dimmed. If it involves lace, skin, and no more guests, I have a guess. Our first night, she whispered. In that bed at the vineyard. You looked at me like I wasn't a mistake. Like I was allowed to want. You are. Still. Always. We didn't stay late. We snuck out. The suite she'd booked was quiet, candlelit, full of flowers that smelled like spring and lust. She closed the door behind us, and then she turned. Looked at me like I was everything. Take it off, she whispered. Everything.
I did. Slowly.
Letting her see every inch of me. Every part she already knew by heart and wanted again anyway. You, she breathed, are the most dangerous thing I've ever loved. And the safest. Yes, she said, voice breaking. God, yes. She undressed like a secret, silk and precision, her hands trembling slightly when she touched the buttons. When she stepped out of her suit, I stepped into her arms. And she kissed me like we hadn't just been married, like she was still trying to convince herself she could have this.
Me.
I pushed her to the bed, straddled her.
Took my time.
Her hands gripped my thighs, her breath ragged, her eyes locked on mine like prayer. When she came undone beneath me, whispering my name like a confession, I kissed her mouth until she melted. Then we started again. And again. And again. That night, we didn't sleep. We memorized. We claimed. We promised again. In every touch, every gasp, every heartbeat pressed against sweat-slick skin. In the morning, she was still holding me, her lips at my temple, my ring glinting in the light. Wife, she whispered. I smiled against her throat. Say it again. My wife. Again. Mine. And this time it wasn't pretend. Not even a little bit. Thank you so much for your support, whether it's by liking, commenting, sharing, or sending your super thanks. You make all the difference here on the channel. See you in the next video.